All right, folks. Oh, we get an awkward pause. Well, this works out fine because people in chat were asking about the Corsair headset stuff while we were on break, and I said I'd demo it. So what I'm going to do real quick is swap to the Corsair mic and off of my studio mic. I will say before we even do this, the mic on the headset is not its selling point. It's not bad for if you want to play games and stuff, but it's definitely not the best mic you'll find. So one sec. All right, so I should be using the headset mic now. You'll notice a definite drop in quality, but if you're just playing games, if you're just playing CS and you need a mic or something, like this works perfectly fine. And off of like an 11-hour wireless battery type thing, so it's like whatever. But there's your example, and I should be back on the proper microphone now. But in before, 3 minutes from now, stream delay, everyone's like, Refkin, you still sound terrible. What are you doing? But ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. This is going to be the final game today, this final best of 3 to determine the second player to make it through the TING qualifiers for Korea. In the bottom right side of King Sejong Station, we've got the red Terran player, ladies and gentlemen, aLive.
In the top left as the blue Terran, he's Forte. What is aLive's clan?
I thought it was DreamHack Open for a second, but it is just like doping and it's like drugs. So is he like you're getting doped up? Like I don't know.
Like doped up. I guess like stim.
I don't know. I have no idea. Like this might. This is obviously a for fun thing. aLive is a very good player. I think was he on Afrika right now, right? Like he is.
I think so. Yeah.
He was one of the players that did qualify through last season, so I'm really glad to see him come out once more. But Salvation, aka Forte, has been putting on quite the show today and kicking ass and taking names. I think it's interesting went for King Sejong, though, and I really love this depot, checking for that Reaper Cliff that I think many people may have forgotten about.
Yeah, I think when this hits ladder again, people are definitely going to forget about it, having not been, pro gamers playing thousands of games on it.
If you're below, like, I'd say even Masters League, get ready for the 3 racks Reaper every game TvT.
Oh, shit. Oh, God.
As if this map wasn't bad enough. I guess the nice thing is, though, it's kind of hard to go from one location to the other, but it will be defending the correct location, right? That's going to be a pain.
Yeah. In that situation, because it could show up, I guess, as this map is going to be in the TING tournament entirely. That could definitely show up, but it is a tricky build because it is like if one place is denied, the other place is really hard to get to.
So an asterisk on that remark. We are doing this for the qualifiers. While this may just be the exact same map pool by the time we're finished, we're going to be talking with Jesse from TING and seeing what he wants for the main map pool for the main season. Because by then, we may have different ladder maps picked and selected, and he may want to get a jump on that. I know he expressed interest in the map test tournament we're doing, so maybe he sees something there he'd really like us to play games on. So this is what we currently have for qualifiers, and this will stay the case for qualifiers, but this may actually look different when it comes to the main season, all things considered, because the ladder may be changing. We want to make sure it reflects that.
I thought the ladder change wouldn't happen for another, 2 months.
See, I don't know, and I don't have a time frame, and I know that Jesse wants to try things, so...
Yeah, I stopped paying attention to,
This is one of those things where I don't mind appeasing the sponsor on, where, like, if you want different maps as a sponsor, I'm all for that. I love seeing different games on different maps. I think people get a little upset because, they don't get to copy the builds to their ladder games, but, whatever.
Mm-hmm. Well, the builds have been chosen, and aLive is going for a 1-base build. So I brought up earlier that the natural ramp is a little tricky. So, like, a command center on the natural is, a little risky, although still, preferable, and Forte is actually going for it right now. But the main ramp should just be like any other ramp, right? But unfortunately, Forte has not walled it off, so the Hellion build is actually going to be effective for aLive. It's going to be able to stop this command center. Maybe cancel it if he focus fired it, but I don't think he wants to. He wants to go straight for those SCVs.
This might just be like the end of the game. I don't think he can outrace this. 3 Hellions add so much extra. In fact, that Viking is going to be huge. The Widowmine is going to get a shot off, but it's not going to kill the SCVs. It actually helps kill the medevac.
Marines,
so.
yeah. And medevac, yeah.
Now on the other side of the map, those Hellions are just something I don't think can be contested. GG.
So... yeah, I mean, we didn't really get a chance to talk a lot about the players. We only mentioned Forte and how he's been looking good in this tournament. But aLive, as you said, he got into the last TING tournament, and he is just usually very good. And I would say his TvT is always good. So
yeah, we always reference this, and I feel like it's only because we cast so many of them. But we had a TvT only tournament. It was $2,000 at the start of Legacy of the Void. Kicked it off. We saw Live, we saw Beyond, we saw Bunny. We really got the hardest look at what TvT looked like, and it hasn't changed since then. Like every TvT we've cast since then have still looked exactly like the same matches we saw at Legacy launch. So it's a matchup where once you've seen aLive do well or Forte do well once, you know how they're going to look for most of those matches.
Mm-hmm.
And as said before, it's unfortunate when Terran versus Terran ends that early, but that's the problem. Like, you go for that drop, you've just got nothing at home to fight. Like, that could have actually been a game he defended had he been at home, but because he wasn't, aLive was able to take advantage of it. So, let me just queue up Dust Towers, and we'll be good to go. Boop. All right, we should have it. Let's hop into it, ladies and gentlemen. Game number 2 could be the last game today. We'll find out here in a moment, as it is 1-0 for aLive. See you guys soon. Spawning here in the bottom left side of Dusk Towers. He is up 1 game currently. He's picking blue. Normally this guy likes green. It's aLive.
Wait, his clan decal changed.
It did. It's aLive now for some reason.
What?
It was definitely
How?
like a needle before.
Huh?
Magic.
Huh? What?
Hey, maybe
Okay.
you're the one doping here, Zombie Girl.
In the top right, as the red Terran, it is Forte.
Do you remember? I had that idea where like we get like somebody to make 3 different facial expressions and have that as their little decal. So like, you would change it to a smiley face if you won game 1 to mess with the casters. You change it to a sad face if you lost game 1 to mess with the casters.
Yeah, but I can't imagine that aLive. Well, I don't know. Maybe no, right? No. Unless he realized, like, oh crap, I want to say decal. Damn you, my decal is not what it's supposed to be. I hope they didn't notice, and then he changed it. But I just don't see Koreans caring that much. Well, oh well.
Yeah, I think it's just a bug because this was his old clan decal.
Yeah,
if you
for
remember.
sure.
Like, it was the weird aLive clan that was going on.
Yeah, and that was on Clan aLive, but he's still on Clan Dopin. You know what? Whatever. I don't. It's fine. It's magic. So, anyway, that game ended really abruptly last game. But King Sejong did sometimes end up that way. It was no merry-go-round. I feel like merry-go-round always was a 1 base drop versus drop, and like whoever defended and attacked better would win. But it did sometimes have those odd situations where it was still, you could still pass each other in the night, basically, with your medevacs. Dusk Towers, I mean, it could happen, yes. It's obviously a very big map. You could both circumvent each other's medevacs, but why would you when you can go for a command center very easily?
Yeah, with that sort of like in base is just, I don't know. There's still, I guess, if you really want to get aggressive, if you want to press the issue and go for like a 1 base build, like, you can make it work. We've talked about this so many times, right? Like, a 2 base build versus a 3 base build can still work because of the aggression you put on through it. But for the most part, macro is, I think, easier to pull off in every scenario. So just throwing down like a 3rd CC, a 2nd CC, and you name it, are usually the more preferable options.
And then Forte, in fact, throws on a 3rd CC on location, loses his Reaper. That's funny. He lost his Hellion last game, too, and it was very unnecessary. He was trying to scout and see if aLive was ever going to push out. So he does not have scouting in case that would have happened, but that's still left to be seen. I mean, Forte going for a very greedy 3rd CC is hoping that by the time aLive realizes he took it or can even do anything about it, it's already kind of paid for itself, and it's fine. But if aLive is going for a 2 base push, he's not going to throw down a 3rd CC after this factory and just straight up be later than Forte. He should have ample opportunity to punish Forte on his greed.
Well, aLive is going to try and scout. Once he sees that 3rd CC, that's a pretty big deal. Like, he has to... There we go. If those Marines shut this down and he didn't get that scout, that would be certainly alarming. Because it's kind of like the same mentality of Protoss, right? Like, he's going to take his own command center here instead of playing super aggressive, maybe? He was banking up money. Is he not doing it anymore?
He might have changed his mind because he saw 3rd CC was already down. Like,
Yeah.
Maybe. I'm not sure. He's still banking a ton of money. He still hasn't done any barracks.
Well, what I
He's
imagine
putting it
is medevac
in
first,
base.
obviously, is you need the gas for. Boom, there you go. But he's still got 400
Oh, he's
minerals.
putting it in base. So that's a little interesting. Deciding to go for the safer command center. knowing that you're already behind an entire command center and almost like a half. Mm.
Well, okay, so this comes into where I think you and I both really appreciate TvT, where okay, you can be behind in this matchup, but you can still make it work for you.
Yes.
What I really like for me, I love that you can be behind and come back. You really can't do that in many other matchups. Like you're behind a Protoss, you're screwed. Fine versus
Wait a
Zerg,
minute.
usually screwed.
Did he think that was a natural? Like he's got 2 turrets coming up. He made the command center on in base. It actually feels like he's being defensive.
He may have misunderstood, but it's so unlikely. Like
Yeah,
there's no way a Terran takes his first base out here.
Well, it's also yeah, exactly like what Terran does at Zerg, sure, all the time, but also like, you know, if it was a build that had late command center, something should have already happened. So I don't know, but he thought of something. I mean, he got missile turrets. I guess just preemptively, maybe he figures it's going to be a very long game and might as well get it, you know, down now. I don't know, but well, he's attacking now. Unfortunately, 3 Vikings actually is going to make this a little bit more difficult. That medevac's not gonna have quite the free reign at once. Oh, now 2 Vikings. Forte, where's your army? There it is.
Coming down the ramp. So the command center is gonna be driven back. Man, this was so weird though. The way this ended up playing, like, I mean, this here is not gonna determine the game, right? Like, medevac goes down, aLive's gonna lose what he has on the side of the map. Boo-hoo. But he's still got enough back at home. I don't think it should be too problematic. I do get worried though because aLive has a significant army disadvantage right now. And I don't just mean in terms of like, oh, here's a tank and some Marines. I mean, once these go down, it becomes even worse. In fact, outrunning these tanks, that's not gonna happen.
Yeah, it's not. Well, Forte.
Unless Forte has no idea how to drop, then maybe.
That was weird. Maybe he thought aLive would have a backup.
No, he was distracted up here by the Liberator.
Okay, so. Which
is great for aLive because he needed to get that tank out alive. There's no doubt about that.
True. Yes. Yes. So aLive is down quite a bit in army. And in this early of a stage, it's enough that if they get a good concave, then you're in a bit of trouble. But he's not that far down in workers. In fact, he's really caught up. I mean, despite having an entire, like a very, very late command center, I guess he denied a little bit of mining with that push and got the SCVs off a little bit. So aLive certainly has everything available to make things more even. And actually, for him, that's probably going to be in upgrades.
This is such a good Marine scout to have seen that coming.
It's really nice, and now I can prep for the potential drop into his main base, but less likely of a drop and more just, you know, I would expect Marines going on the bottom of the ridge like you usually see, but it really is just the tanks and Vikings.
4 Vikings are going to take this fight, no problemo.
Yeah. Definitely would have loved to have gotten the medevacs, but just took out the Vikings. That's fine too. But I was going to mention aLive. His upgrade is actually very far ahead of Forte. Now it's going to fall behind here. I think he doesn't have an armory already on the way. Oh no, it's already done. My bad. Oh, okay, good then. So he should have that +2 weapons far ahead of Forte, and that's pretty darn good. It's actually definitely caught up in army supply and even surpassed, taking out this tank here. Oh, taking out that.
Could have taken out that tank. I mean, you already lost the 1 Viking. You might as well continue the investment. But okay, whatever. It's all good.
Okay, all right, whatever. So there's that +2 I was talking about. And aLive, I mean, this is really evened up despite what was kind of an odd little opener there. You know, aLive maybe looking a little too defensive, but then that push out that did enough damage, it looks like. Actually, I think aLive also got the faster second factory, so his tank count might get a little bit of boost here too. Much faster 4th CC.
Yeah. Kind of interesting, by the way, aLive, who I didn't expect to have any sort of income lead whatsoever, did spike, I guess, when he was pressuring that third. So now it's more evened out, and both players are on very similar incomes, mostly just rotating who's got the mule, who's on cooldown. But as this continues forward, that's where production is going to be that hitch. You mentioned the second factory, and that can be a huge factor, but oh man, upgrades are going to be pretty big, and that +2 weapons for aLive is going to be a nice bonus to have over his opponent's army. No doubt about it.
Mm-hmm.
And I just really want to stress, too, this isn't like any other matchup where you got like a +1 lead, and you're like, okay, that's not bad. Like, this is actually a huge deal for Marines.
If it does finish by the time they engage, it looks like they might engage before that, though. That's just going to be up to who tank drops better, has a better concave. Though they both scan each other and decide not to go for it. But they're playing to that late game. You know, Forte's zone fourth on the way that ended up not being that far behind that of aLive's. They got sensor towers. aLive started off with those missile turrets that kind of made it look funky, but are now, of course, useful in the late game. He's actually built somewhat of turret walls around his natural and main base. So they really don't want to be dropped. They don't want to have the game end that way. They're looking for main engagements in the middle of the map, but still hesitant to take any.
Well, awkward scuffles going around. Tanks are pretty numerous on both sides, but I really like the Viking control. Not as big a deal now as, say, once was in the beta, but I'm a big fan of people who can get air control in TvT, and Vikings are not exactly cheap units to make.
So I loved Viking control, or rather I hate it because I'm usually not the one that has it in the early to mid game. And I'm always like, this is bullshit, I should get Vikings next time, I never do. But when it comes to like the late game, like at this situation where they're almost maxed out, I really feel like Vikings are just they're never utilized, you know? It's always like you're in such a hurry to drop the tanks. When I play, I much rather prefer just having my tanks down as opposed to the Vikings. They're gonna die anyway. But if you can start sniping with them, like if you actually do control them, especially when you have like a sieged up position like Forte is looking to get, maybe on the bottom of that ridge there, then like absolutely snipe those medevacs. If they can't pick up all of their tanks, you're already doing a lot better than them.
Well, not only that, but earlier in the game, too, you're not going to be able to afford to burn a ton of scans. Obviously, right now, it's not that big of an issue, as we see, but for the most part, you can't afford to be scanning like crazy when you've only got 2 orbitals. Now we're on 4 bases. It's not as big of a deal. 3 orbitals.
Yeah. Upgrades are once again going to be even, although aLive is going to have a much faster +2 vehicle weapons, which could be pretty important.
You know, really
but 3-3 still hit on.
If aLive somehow had a fight that was determined by having 1 extra siege tank, or Forte had 1 extra siege tank because aLive didn't kill that one from earlier with the Vikings.
Yeah. Okay.
That is a ton of tanks. It's a little bit awkward. Both players yin and yanging with their Marines and their tanks here, but the Vikings actually go in the favor of Forte. Not something expected to have happen.
Actually, like, aLive had to leave. His medevacs are not going to stand a chance. His Marines were being kind of cornered in because of Forte's tanks. And what originally I thought might not be a great situation for Forte's ended up being pretty good. He does drop into tanks, so okay, saves the 2 that were very low. But he really can't do very much against these Vikings.
If you have tanks that are already sieged up, in every way it's more beneficial to have your opponent drop into you. And that's kind of what we saw a little bit of here towards the end. Now, aLive's actually darting past this. He's got a drop going towards the 3rd or the natural by the looks of it. That's a lot of Marines in the middle of the map. These could easily catch those Vikings. It is even upgrades, however, and oh, this is bad. This is really bad. He loses control in the middle of the map. He's going to lose so many Marines. Medevacs might go down as well. He's going to try and just focus down this factory as a bit of a consolation. Drop over here on the right side, denies some mining. His own planetary still stands behind
kill
this,
the tanks.
This is all the Marines going down.
If he can save any of the medevacs, this wouldn't have been so poor, but especially any medevacs with
fly him into missile turrets, that's not gonna happen.
They both made missile turret rings, so that was very unlikely to happen. But aLive did just buy a lot of time. Maybe he can get maxed again, but this was a very desperate gamble, and it did not pay off.
No, he's behind quite significantly now in overall supply, but let's talk about what he did get done. He killed most of the Vikings. He did kill that 2nd factory, but he lost all of his medevacs and most of his Marines for it, so it's hard to say that that was worth it. But he at least got damage done, and that wasn't all for naught.
Well, it was also really unfortunate because maybe if his upgrade had finished, he would have taken those direct Marine fights a lot better. At least traded a little bit. But unfortunately, it really was just him trying to get whatever he could, and it wasn't a lot. In fact, already rebuilding that factory pretty damn quick. aLive, he's not a bad like army supply right now because there's a lot of tanks, so he could hold a position fairly well, even at a disadvantage of like 40-50 army supply. But that's a pretty big army supply. If he is concaved on, he could just be broken. Or he just bypassed completely. Okay, no.
Yeah, I was going to say one or the other, I guess. But, man, there's really not a lot of medevacs for aLive, and that's going to make this so hard to fight with. And it has nothing to do with the Marines. It has everything to do with the tanks not being able to shuffle around.
He's going to go for it.
Drops into a concave of tanks. I'm not sure if that was a great move out of Forte. His Marine count is astounding, but the tank count for aLive is so much better.
Yeah. Dropping 3 tanks to instantly, or almost instantly get killed was not the wisest move. He thought he had a better army supply than he did.
But goes back to exactly what we talked about before, where the idea is that if your opponent's dropping tanks into you and you have vision of it, that's going to go better for you every single time.
Yeah. A little bit of, shenanigans there. aLive did have an extra command center, just like Forte, so he's trying to take it right now. But Forte, I believe, also lifted his main command center, so he is still on 3 fully mining bases. And his natural and third aren't mined out yet either. So his income still looking pretty good. His bank still a little bit bigger, of course, but he really did take a bad engagement. And aLive has to hope for another one of those, basically. Like another truly bad engagement from Forte to really even things up.
aLive actually has an upgrade lead right now, too. I want to point that out. And most importantly, through vehicle weapons. Like, Forte's not even going for +2 vehicle weapons. Those tanks for aLive are going to be better just in every way, not just in numbers, but in damage. Planetary's so close to being finished up here. If you can repair this and keep it alive, the Planetary will hold versus the Marines, but they're just going to get on top of the SCVs. I don't know if that'll finish in time.
The Marines are stimming over here to get it, and it's going to finish, and they're going to get out. The tank line is still holding, but I don't think for very long, especially, yeah, exactly, if he starts dropping on top of them, all the Marines just left. And if he unsieges, he's going to get pounced upon.
Well, not really. By what?
Maybe not.
There's nothing here to pounce upon him with. He's actually going to push forward with his tanks.
Wait, where's the rest of the Forte's army? I guess it was just a little bit, yeah, a little bit behind that of that drop. I really thought he was going to drop on siege and then push in. Oh well, so it's a stalemate yet again in the middle of the map, but Forte does have, once again, 30 army supply more than aLive and a bigger bank.
aLive has been taking decisively better fights, though. It wasn't just that one flashy, like, mistake in the middle of the map. It's been a while that it's been aLive making the better choices when it comes to these drops, and how he's handled the tanks. Again, the +3 weapon upgrades on the tanks is going to go a long way as well. I mean, it's not the difference of like one-shotting versus two-shotting Marines, but it's a lot of extra splash. It's a lot of extra damage on the other tanks as well.
I can't believe he got up to +3 vehicle weapons. Not something we usually see. But anytime he can drop aggressive is going to be great. He actually gets a concave on top of the tanks of Forte. He doesn't have many Marines.
And he pulls back into his own tank. So Forte now perhaps going a little too deep.
Oh, these are really good engagements from aLive. He still needs a couple more, though. He's still down in a supply. Does not have as consistent income. I think he just transferred SCVs, so that was a big dip in his income. And, of course, he's starting to mine out. So he only has 2 kind of healthy mining bases, and actually the main, natural, and third are all out.
Yeah, Forte's money's looking better right now, but, again, like that's what's kind of crazy to me. They're on similar bases, but the money is such a difference between the two players.
Yeah. aLive really needs to try and sneak over a command center to the top left, or hell, even the bottom right, which hasn't really been scouted. I think he has 2 drops. Oh, they're tank drops, though. Okay, yeah, I guess 16 Marines couldn't do much against the planetary anyway. Might as well get those tanks over there to deny mining.
Good scraps in the middle of the map, too. No one really getting too far in, nobody getting too far out, but yeah, denying mining is going to go a long way. Perhaps shutting down the planetary entirely if it's not responded to. I mean, Forte has to respond to it with something, so it is going to be 1 Marine drop that goes back home to defend.
aLive's in a very tough position here. Forte really has a lot of options. He can continue to expand. He's starting to lose a couple of SCVs up to the middle left, but he can also go for more Vikings and just continue having that Viking control, where usually you're trading out like medevacs at this time, and you got to keep up on that count, but he has triple tank production as well. I mean, if he really wanted to, he could probably afford a second starport to choose between medevacs and Vikings.
I am a little worried on that, though, because when you get to this point, you might just start spending your money a little too quickly. If he's been able to be frivolous with some of these engagements because of that lead. If he gets too frivolous, that's where the game ends.
aLive's tanks weren't siege. Only half of them were siege.
Well, that might just be game. Then Forte just absolutely dominates now with over double the army supply. I like comebacks for Terran, but I don't know how you come back from this.
Yeah, once aLive lost his tank count, that was going to be game. And actually, he was losing out on the tank count in general, just with the Forte's like increased production. It was getting worse and worse for aLive. He could barely afford to make Marines, much less like double tanks, because he only has 2 factories. So that should be game.
To take this one step further as well, we don't have any air production coming out of aLive at all. And I mean, a lot of these medevacs are almost dead. A Liberator would be cool to see, obviously, if you could squeeze one. But, I mean, for the most part, these Vikings are going to control the skies. Like, this is that air control we talked about before. Meanwhile, towards the south, there's a drop. There's nothing here to really drop. Spire gas guys using the turrets, but it doesn't really matter. Middle of the map. Looks like Forte just going to walk into a bunch of tanks, but once again, aLive is the one who's got the problems, I guess we'll say.
He's really trying. He really doesn't want to lose this game, but you got to feel like you haven't killed your opponent's bases and you're below 100 supply. That's game.
Yeah. I do love the continued attempts to drop. Planetary is a little too strong over here. The medevac counts, the tank's a little too much. There we go. Good game gets called, and Forte will tie up the series now 1-1 as we go into the ace match of this final qualifying series. We're going to go to a small 2-minute break. And I don't know, are we getting Winter rated? We see one guy trying to raid in chat. So shout out to Winter, I guess, if he's actually doing that, or I don't know what's going on. But anyways, we'll see you guys here in 2 minutes as we get to game number 3. All right, folks, welcome back. Game number 3. Everything is now tied up 1-1 in this final qualifying match of the first qualifier of the TING Open. Quick reminders that we will have the European qualifier happening tomorrow, so make sure you guys don't disappear for too long, and make sure to come back for that one as well. But spawning here in the bottom right side of Frozen Temple, we've got the red Terran player. It's aLive.
No. No. In the top left as the blue Terran, it is Forte.
What are we knowing?
It's aLive.
Oh.
Why would that... What?
I guess, no, that's more Dracula than Frankenstein. I was just trying to go for like a bad guy laugh, you know, like... It's alive! Whatever, I'm done. I need a cape. I feel like a cape...
Wow. Villain, not... Capes aren't villain things.
A cape? Well, first off, yes, it is. And secondly, it would totally help me out with my
It is
accents.
so much more iconic on superheroes than villains.
Disagree. I think of Dudley Do-Right. Does he have a cape? I don't think so. But
Who the fuck think of...
But Snidely Whiplash does. He's got a crazy...
Of that.
No, listen. Snidely Whiplash is like iconic bad guy, crazy mustache, evil cape, like... No, I'm sorry.
Everyone thinks of Superman's cape.
No. I don't even think of Superman with a cape, to be honest.
How? He always has one.
No, I mean, I don't think of Superman, but also with a cape. Like I don't think of Superman. Period. When I think of superhero.
Oh my god.
I think of the firefighters and the policemen and the teachers in our local communities. They're the true heroes, and they're the real superheroes. Zombie Grub.
No, shut up. Stop.
Are you trying to tell me that a firefighter is not a hero? Do you not know about the Fort McMurray fires that ate up half of Alberta? How insensitive are you right now?
My brother's a firefighter, right?
Yeah, your brother, air quotes. The one that totally exists.
Oh, God.
We actually came to this revelation in Austin. I didn't want to have to tell people, but I guess you forced my hand, where we discovered Zombie doesn't actually have brothers. She has a lot of cats, which we now believe she's misinterpreted in her psyche as her family, her brothers, because she has no pictures of any other human beings that are related to her.
But I did. I found my one brother.
No, you found a picture of some guy that you said was your brother with no
And my
proof.
Dad. Like,
I don't know what your dad
they were
looks
together.
like. You just showed me 2 random dudes you Googled.
So I don't have a dad either.
No, I believe you have a dad. I just can't say that the picture you showed me was of your dad.
So that didn't do very much in the game.
No, it didn't. But at the same time, it's not a big deal, because Forte was going for this move with 2 Reapers and a Hellion that won him a game earlier today, if you guys recall. So it's pretty important that this gets thwarted.
I haven't seen a picture of your brother. You have one, don't you?
I have a sister.
Yeah, we know you have a sister, but you have a brother too. You talk about him. You're talking about your cat?
I don't know what you're talking about. I don't have a brother.
Oh, okay. Hey, those Reapers came back. Actually, killing two SCVs is pretty good, and the fact that they can come back later is actually really annoying. But aLive's drop here could be quite dangerous. Only 2 Hellions. The Banshee's not quite out. The Banshee should be automatically solve this problem, but it
might not, though, is the issue. This is getting kind of out of hand, and there's so many Marines they could easily take on 1 Banshee. As the SCVs start piling up on top of the Marines, you get the Hellions ready to give that splash damage. Everybody jump, everybody dance. But now the Marines are getting cleaned up enough that the Banshee should be able to manage this. And this got so close to being out of hand. This got so close to aLive just auto-winning the game with this.
Oh, that sucks. The one Hellion that was so low gets killed by an SCV.
Yeah.
Well, the Banshee tagging this is, that means it's not going to do very much damage or any damage at all, but it can leave. It's also taking the Banshee away from doing counter damage.
And let's not forget, there's another Banshee, but from the other player coming.
Yeah, and that's not something Forte's expecting. He has a Cyclone, but that won't help with the detection.
Okay, well, I I really like the Raven, just because you won't have to burn scans. That'll save you a lot of money in this investment. But can this, I guess, the drop kill enough of the Marines that the Banshee can go ham? I mean, it's getting on top of the natural base right now. Shut down some mining. If the Marines leave that ledge to go deal with it, then he's just going to start dropping the main once again. I mean, this is still problematic for Forte.
He really needs a scan, and he does have one. Okay, so he might even have two. So the Cyclone should take care of this. At least send it away. Go away.
The corner of the map.
Wrecked.
But it did save the medevac while they were all looking at the Banshee. So, I mean, not the greatest use of a Banshee, but getting a medevac out alive is kind of a big deal.
Yeah, I thought it was going to get away, then it got stuck in the top left. So the fact that it actually was able to get away is pretty damn good. Of course, aLive, having seen the Banshee follow his medevac for so long, absolutely has defense against it. His own Cyclone and a Raven that actually provided enough vision to lock on and kill it.
And detection, of course, on top of all that. So, I mean, this ends up deflecting where they've both got similar SCVs. No one has a third base down. The army is far better for aLive. But without a siege tank here, there's nothing you can really do to push with what he currently has. So this ends up being a pretty, like, I will say, skillful opening out of both. Not only to attack, but also to deflect on both sides. And that's kind of cool to see. Third CC does start up for Forte while I'm talking, however. And this is something where... This is where it gets a little expensive. That's a lot of money to invest in a structure when aLive already has the army supply lead. When he's already coming for round 2 of this attack.
Yeah. aLive won't have very much else except that 5 army supply lead, which, you know, isn't too much. Definitely something that's fine to defend against. But Stim is going to be ahead at some point. That might be something aLive can use later on. We'll see what he uses with this Raven, actually. Okay, the Hellion Rip. And actually, the Raven, too. Ooh, be careful with 2 Vikings.
A lot of energy for auto turrets, which we have seen proven to be just so strong in Legacy of the Void.
Damn stupid lock-on. Okay, it is going to be auto turrets. If they're going to take an engagement, absolutely put the auto turrets there, because if they're not going to run away from it, they're going to do so much damage.
That tank lives through the damage, by the way, which is kind of huge. This third CC looking like it's going to get knocked down in a moment. Marines up here on the high ground. Tank not sieged up. The medevac hiding back because it is so low. Going to try and reposition some of this as Marines start maneuvering around. But for aLive, this gets really awkward and has to disengage with his expensive units. It just leaves the expendable ones to get some more SCV kills, which is actually really nice. I think the biggest deal, though, was getting that cancel / kill on the third CC. Stopping that was a big deal.
Yeah, this is really good for aLive. Cancel on a third CC, a lot more SCVs than he really should have been able to get because a lot of them were so low from the early engagements. I mean, even getting a Viking as it's pretty low would have been really, really awesome. And saved a couple of units, too. His Cyclone went back home, he saved the tank and the medevac. And he does have that upgrade lead and stim lead. So I think aLive is looking pretty damn good.
PB's got my back, by the way. Because, yeah, I have a bunch of pictures from my sister's wedding with my brother. Yo.
But no picture of your sister at her wedding.
No, there is. We took a selfie together. It's on Twitter. You're falling apart.
Can you find me that, please?
You're
I
like
don't think
Swiss
I saw that.
cheese. You're full of holes.
I don't think I remember seeing that picture. Can you show me that picture, PB? It's a trick. You can't, because it won't go back that far.
Doesn't it?
I don't know. I tried looking for something at like May of last year, and I couldn't find it.
You know, you can just Google. Like, I'm pretty sure you can just Google like @RiffKing's Twitter, July 2015, stuff like that. That's how I look up old pictures. At least.
Yeah, of course you would know how to do this.
Yeah, I'm busy creeping all the cute girls. I gotta see what they looked like a year ago. Are you kidding me?
Yep.
I know this game. Whatever, Miss Ice stalked somebody's Instagram back to like a year ago. I don't want to hear it.
They only had like 6 posts.
A year ago.
That doesn't count.
All right,
so how many posts or how long?
Comedy Shell's gonna finish up here in a moment for aLive. His positioning still, again, it's weird to look at this because it is even, like on the numbers and on the scoreboard. But it's still better for aLive. I like his army composition. I like his positioning in the game. And let's not forget, Forte is the one, despite these weird tanks in the middle of the map that shouldn't be here, like he's the one playing defensive. The Vikings are patrolling, looking for a drop, bunker, tons of Marines. I mean, aLive's taking a third on location because he can get away with it. Forte is not even trying to take another third. And I mean, good too, because this first one failed so miserably.
Well, okay, good in that sense, but not good in the sense that like he's got nothing from canceling or not getting a third. Rather, like
Yeah.
he doesn't have an increased army supply, which is what you would hope to have.
Oh, that Raven. What are you
Um,
gonna do, buddy? What are you gonna
yeah, I
do,
don't know
Raven?
about that. I think he was maybe thinking about doing auto turrets. Oh, he's gonna go in inside the Marines all the way over there. Oh, and the tanks focus fire on the auto
And the
turrets.
Vikings also gonna fall here. It's getting really out of hand now. aLive getting a huge lead. Forte does fall back up to the high ground, but these tanks have almost no health. Like, oh my god, the Marines, I don't think he realizes he could have kept pushing into that and easily kill what little there was left. So the pressure is on, and now Forte's in a lot of trouble. If he unloads those tanks, they're going to go down to the Marines. A little bit of focus fire could focus both of them down simultaneously.
GG.
GG! aLive will once again qualify for the TING Open. Good to see him back for Season 2. Good to see him back. But man, oh man, what a first qualifier. The bracket was smaller than I expected, but I still think we got really good games out of it. And like, while she didn't qualify, I think Scarlett's game today, it's still like #1 MVP stupid but amazing and fun game to cast. Like,
Yep. Yes, it was.
and it's cool to see that it's somebody like Forte, who we followed from the start of the day, actually qualify through. I love when that happens. It just feels like there's like that extra story there. It's like just cooler for it. So we'll be referencing those games later on in the group stage. But that does conclude the cast here for Ting, so I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you're considering swapping to their mobile phone service, make sure to check them out at bttv.ting.com. I will say, for the time I spent in Austin, even though I completely abused their phone system and used it in ways they didn't want me to, I still only spent like $30 for the 2 or a week and a half we were there or whatever. And that was me like not being conservative at all. You'll get $25 just for signing up through bttv.ting.com, so you can basically try out their services for a month. More or less for free, depending on how much you use it. So I would recommend just checking them out for sure. Nice people, really into esports, and I know that we'll do a Season 3 if we can get good signups for Season 2, just like we did for Season 1. So I'm really excited to keep working with them, do more StarCraft, more content in the future. That being said, we did talk about that arcade block thing, and I want to just bring this up because it was asked earlier, and just to address it one more time at the end of the stream. If you guys want to buy something from that site, it doesn't have to be the arcade block. They've got other things, like if you're into spooky shit, I think there's even like a horror block and stuff like that.
Yep.
Just click the link down below our stream, click on that little icon of Sonic, and it'll take you to their site. And once you've clicked on that link once, it lets them know that you came from BaseTradeTV, and that's the part that matters. Because there's no code, there's no like, use BaseTradeTV and get like a discount. Like, there's no way to track it other than going through that link. So again, if you sign up, get a chance to win this really sexy wrist board, which again has tons of awesome signatures on it. I'll probably take a close-up and put it on Twitter so you guys can look at it better there. Yeah, I even got Sappy to sign this too, like everybody. I even got Caliber to sign it, and he signed it as Slayer's boner. So, yeah, make sure you guys enter in for a chance to win. And if you do buy an arcade block or whatever block, screenshot it, so because right now that's our only way to get proof that you bought it to enter into the raffle. So, we'll announce the end date. We'll say about a month from now ish. Oh, I just realized Neeb signed it as Neeblet instead of Neeb. Bales and Hydra and Hearthstone, etc. Anyways, thank you guys for watching this first qualifier for the Ting Open. Tomorrow we'll be back with the European qualifiers. I'm looking very forward to that. Same deal, single elimination, top 2 qualify through, and we'll see you guys then. Any final words before we go, Zebragub?
Follow me on Twitter at CG Gaming.
Follow me on Twitter at Riff_Kings. Have a great day, everybody. We'll see you later.
Bye.